Two, one. Ayo, in the words of Plotty. Welcome to the Boston Sports Brothers. We're back with another show. It is Big E and I. We're minus a couple of brothers, but we still got sports to talk about, especially a hot sport. And we're gonna kick it off with that. But first, I really just want to touch on the tragic passing of both Diogo Jota of Liverpool and his brother Andre Silva of Bundesliga Werder Bremen. They both tragically passed away in a car accident on July 4th. They were both 20 and 29 respectively. Don't really need to go into detail too much about what happened. Just want to shed some light on the fact that, these things happen. It's a sensitive topic, and we just, give our condolences to the family, want to respect their privacy, and just take a moment to, kind of look at what life really is, and find out what's important, and who the important people are in our lives. So, just wanted to just really touch base on that. Um, but we'll jump right into the Sox. Oof, how sweet it is to be in love by you. All I gotta
I mean,
say.
they're on a tear, right? I mean, no other way to look at it, right?
Yeah, three. I mean, they go into the All-Star game with, a record of what are they? I had to put two things here because they just went the completely polar opposite direction. As of 7/14, they are 53 and 45. I started this and I forgot what the record was when I first started it back, but they were 6.5 back of Toronto. They're now 4 games behind Toronto. Before they were 2.5 games away from a wild card spot, and now they're in sole possession of the second spot. Um, so I mean, really, with this team, they just push you away and draw you right back in. Um,
Yeah, I mean, there's no other way to look at it, right? Like they are hot and cold, right? And right now they're hot. I feel like, the All-Star break couldn't be more ill-timed for this team because
I
they
agree.
are they really have been on a tear. And I will admit, I'm probably the only Boston sports brother that has not bought into the Red Sox. And I think, I think I've been burned too many times over the last 5, 6, 7 years to say, hey, this 10 game win streak, which is, phenomenal, right? Like by any stretch of the imagination, you say to any one of us, the Red Sox are going to win 10 games in a row, that I feel like any of us are going to be, like the majority of us are going to always be like, hell yeah, like let's go for it. And I am very happy the Red Sox are doing what they're supposed to be doing. But I think the big thing that I've looked at this streak is they're doing what they're supposed to be doing against the teams that they should be beating up on, right? You're looking at teams that are, I don't want to say like they're bad teams, but
Cellar
they're not the
dwellers.
yeah, I mean they're the dregs of the dregs. I mean, we're looking at the Cincinnati Reds. We love you, Tito, right? Like we love you, Francona, but your team's not that good, right? The Colorado Rockies, who are on pace to be one of the worst teams of all time, which I couldn't fathom after last year with the White Sox. So that says it all because the White Sox were absolutely atrocious last year. And then you have the Washington Nationals, who I think when the Red Sox beat them, they were on an 11 game losing streak and they fired their coach and GM. So like again, I'm not taking anything away from the Red Sox because and also Tampa I will say is a better team than all those others, right? And so you do got to give them credit for what they did against Tampa. But I also don't want to give them too much credit based on what they've done because again, it's who you're playing. I think what really is going to determine how this team does is how they do throughout the rest of the month in July because they have some tough series coming up and they're not just like teams that are coming on up that we're like, oh yeah, we should beat these teams. They're playing legit title contenders in the Dodgers, the Cubs. Who else are they playing? They're playing another really good. Oh, the Phillies as
Phillies.
well.
Yeah.
So those are three teams that could win their division easily. So for me, it's all about what do the Red Sox do the rest of the way. If they're able to go ahead and even in my opinion, play almost 500 ball because of just the start that we had this month and how they ended June. I feel like they're gonna be in a good spot going into the rest of the playoff or rest of the season. But if they falter and they get absolutely demolished by these teams, which I'm gonna be probably the only one here that's going to say this, I think it is a real possibility. I'm not buying into everything that they're selling right now. So I hope I'm wrong. I hate to be cynical, but I feel like as you were saying to me last night when we were talking a little bit, I have a little bit of PTSD from the Red Sox and a little bit of whiplash from how they've been over the last couple of years. So I'm not ready to buy in. I know everyone here is either in or intrigued, but I'm just kind of a little bit cautious.
Yeah, and I completely get where, that cautious, optimism is. But again, the stars for them kind of have been aligning perfectly. You got Giolito going on his best 7 game stretch of his career. You got Garrett Crochet and you have Bayo both throwing complete games. I mean, these are the things you're not going to see that, throughout the rest. I mean, I would love to see more complete games, and hopefully that is the case. Do I expect Giolito to keep going on this tear? No, he'll probably even out. I do expect him to be good. I mean, he's a good pitcher. Um, I mean, you can't take note on what the bullpen's done. And the other thing is they haven't played bums either, too. They did
No,
lose against the Angels and the White Sox earlier in the year, um, pretty badly. So it just to think, if they had taken some of those games where they would be in the division. For me, I'm always a Red Sox optimist and always will be. So for me, it's like you said, what do they do moving forward? And that kind of comes to the front office. And what are they going to do at the trade deadline? Because I think they got to be sellers and buyers. And
I'm interested to hear who you think they should sell because I think I have a different opinion on it.
so I definitely think Duran is the guy to go. That's what everyone's saying. All the
Can I
people
ask why
obviously,
why 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 everyone feels like he's the guy to go?
because we have a clogged outfield, a whole bunch of left-handed bats. He's got team control. He's fast, and he can be slotted in the number one role. And he could play pretty much any position in the outfield. Um, that's why I think he's such a hot commodity. I don't want to part ways with Willie Abreu. I think he's got more of a future here. When I look at Jaron Duran, I see a Jacoby Ellsbury kind of type player. Um, and as you know, with this game, it's you know, I don't, and nothing against Jaron Duran. I just don't think he's going to be the contact hitter that Mookie Betts is, where you have a
I,
smaller guy in that stature, or a Dustin Pedroia in that
not many
case.
are, right? So like
Yeah,
that's the reason the Red Sox moved on from Mookie is because they looked at the numbers and the analytics. Say whatever you want about them, but
they
the
did.
numbers and analytics
That's
say
what they
that
did.
small guys typically don't hit for power and contact long term. So
And if they're wrong on Jaron Duran, then that's bad on us. But it allows Marcelo Mayer to play every day. It allows the opportunity for Christian Campbell to come up, and then it allows us to get another arm to add to either the bullpen or the starting rotation and shift one of the guys in the starting rotation over to the bullpen, which is only going to help us in the postseason. And
yeah, it's interesting though because I feel like Duran is like he was an all-star last year. He's still someone who I
Mhm.
think has good value, but I almost feel like if we move on from him right now, what does that do from a chemistry perspective to the team as well? Because just as you were thinking, like as you were talking about, like they've been on a tear. And I think, as we saw earlier when the Devers move happened, they were on a tear before that, and then they kind of really kind of came back down to earth before they went on this great streak. So that's part of the reason that I'm not buying in quite yet, because I think they are a little bit streaky. But I think you make a move like this, you have to think about it from the chemistry perspective too, because sometimes a subtraction is not always going to be an addition. I think, it was
so
for Rafi getting gone, but maybe
So
not with
what
Durant.
if you bring in a guy like Evaldi as opposed to Joe Ryan, someone that's been a part of this culture already, that's one in the city and knows what to do. Do you think that would mess up the chemistry?
I mean, I just think it like who is left on the team that was there with when Evaldi was here when they won. Like I think you have to have some
Aside
sort
from the
of
coaching staff? Yeah,
yeah,
no,
you have to
yeah.
have some sort of relationship with the player. So like I hear what you're saying. I think the fans would love Evaldi to come back because he was a fan favorite. We all loved him here. Um, as far as the players go, though, I don't know if that has the same impact as it does than like what you're alluding to because again, I just don't know how many. There's no player on the roster. The last one we just shipped out to San Francisco, rightfully so. Bye-bye, Rafi. See ya.
Bye-bye.
I'm sorry your back hurts. I'm so sorry. We're so sorry about your back. Um, but yeah, no, I just think like I understand where you're coming from, Sam. And I'm not trying to play devil's advocate. I'm just trying to say, hey, is there a potential consequence of moving him
Don't
that
fix what's not broken.
yeah, just that could be an issue. So that's my only thing here. And I think, also we've seen issues before where and we're just going through it. Bregman was out for, how long? Like almost 2 months. You have a surplus of talent until you don't, right? So you get rid of someone like Duran and there's an injury that happens and you don't have someone like Duran, then you're pulling someone from the Woo Sox, right? So it's not one to one in my opinion. I do think like getting an arm would be helpful. I just don't know if I want to move on from Duran. I don't know if I want to move on from Willie or Abreu either. So, and obviously, no, we're not moving on from the kid. So it kind of creates a difficult circumstance. I'm glad I'm not the GM of the team because I don't know what I would do moving forwards. But again, just my 2 cents. I think there's the chemistry that we just have to think about. I think chemistry almost in baseball is I don't want to say it's underrated compared to some of the other sports, but you're playing 162 games. I think it weighs more in baseball than it does in the other sports.
I agree. I 100% agree. And I don't and again, this is just what's good for the team. I'm just going off of, I'm just being a, you know, stats kind of guy, and this is what we should do. I'm taking all emotion out of it. As a fan, I don't want Jaron Duran to leave. Um, to see what he's gone through as a rookie, and then everything about the Netflix documentary that came out, him becoming the MVP All Star of the All Star game last year. Um, you're right. It could mess up the chemistry, and so do you not mess with something that's not broken? And it's just that's you know you you could do either or. I think in this case, and you could either sell or you could not. I mean, you could hear the fans outside yelling to Craig Breslow, "Don't trade Duran, don't trade Duran." So,
But but I also like want to take a step back too and say like, listen, like there's a reason why you and I are not the GM of the team because, we are fans and we're gonna follow our hearts, not necessarily our brains. And whatever you think of Breslow, if you think he's a stiff like the scout who got fired, or you think he's doing the best with what he's got, like either way, like this dude is going to make a decision here over the next couple weeks that's going to determine the fate of this team and where how far they go or how far they don't go. It really is going to be up to Craig. So, again, I think we all want the best for the Red Sox. It's just a matter of this move could have a negative impact, especially when they have some of these really tough series coming on up. So, but I think you're also coming from an informed place here where this is not just like Sam Krasner saying, hey, like, I think that they should move Duran because this is what I think they should do. This is what you're hearing from legit sources within the media who they're not just kind of coming up with this on their own. I like to always say if there's smoke, there's fire somewhere.
and the thing is it as a fan, it sucks, but when you think about it from a business point, it makes sense. So like you said, it's trying to separate yourself as a fan versus what's business and what's actual reality in the sports world, because they're two completely different things than what most people think they are.
You know what's interesting? I've noticed that Alex Cora seems reinvigorated over the last like not just like the ten game win streak, but even a little bit before that. I think like getting rid of Rafi has kind of like freed him up a little bit. And I know we've been very critical of him, and I think rightfully so. But I don't know. Have you seen a change in him? Have you noticed a change in him like I have?
Yeah, I think he, like Big Poppy, tried to get through to Rafi and couldn't, and it was just probably an everyday thing where he was just having this ongoing issue with someone that he watched grow up from the age of 16 on to 28, 12 years. He's known this kid, and he's watched him grow up and become an adult. And so I think maybe some of it might have been personal, and I think it might have affected him that way. And he was, you know, a lot. He says that he tries to not show his emotion, but people show their emotions in different ways. And if you're a body language person, you can just tell. And there were points where it was just when we were with talking with Matt McCarthy a few weeks ago, he was like, it was just every single game when they lose, it was just like another punch in the gut, another punch in the gut, another punch in the gut. But now he's juiced up and it's what he expects.
He
This
seems
is
like
what
he's
he
having fun. He
expects
seems like he's having fun again.
because this is what was expected of the team going into the year. And this is what I expected. Like I said, if they didn't go on that shitty run like they did against the Angels and against the White Sox, they would be in a much better position that they're in. They'd probably be in first place right now.
Yeah, and you, not to kind of like pull it to the other side of the equation, but just because we were talking about the Rafi move and how that's affected the team in a lot of different ways, I think someone's having a little bit of buyer's remorse, and I'm not necessarily saying the Giants are at this point, but I think Rafi is realizing that the grass is not always greener on the other side. He apparently is talking about how Boston's still home and he misses Boston and. It's kind of like, listen, you don't know what you have until you don't have it anymore. And, you know, Rafi, I'm sorry, buddy, but you forced your way out of town. You're not coming back. So enjoy those cold, cold summer nights on the San Francisco Bay because
Yeah,
that's what you're
stay in
signed up
the
for.
stay in the sun. If you want to be warm, stay in the sun.
Yeah,
That's our
that's
that's
what you're
our
signed
that's
up
our
for. So,
advice.
when it inevitably goes south with San Francisco in the next 2 to 3 years, which it inevitably will because you're a big baby and you'll get your way. I hope you find peace and solace wherever your next team is.
And it'll probably be the Bronx.
Don't wish that into existence.
But I
Hey,
mean, he's
maybe
such a head
maybe maybe
case
maybe the
that
infection will go over there and they'll have to deal with that too.
that's
So,
that's exactly why I want it to happen because no. But you know, Rafi being moved, it it sucked. We don't know what happened behind closed doors. But yeah, I mean,
I mean,
and,
we're
and
both on
listen,
record. We're both on record being all good with the move, and I don't think either of our opinion has changed.
and like I said, this isn't. It's not like it's something for him to say that he misses Boston. It's just weird because it's not like this trade is something that kind of just blew out of nowhere. He's clearly been unhappy for a while. They've probably been searching for a while. You don't just move $300 million like that quickly. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, I just don't
Um,
think I think he's been unhappy for a while, but I don't necessarily know it has anything to do with the Red Sox or baseball. Maybe there's other things going on in his life that are really impacting him. And I really do hope that the guy is does find his peace at some point. But clearly he's finding that like what he wanted to have happened, he's clearly not at that place that he wanted it to be. So again, best of luck to him. We'll always thank him for 2018 and the contributions he made in his time here, but you're no longer on the team. So, you know, good luck to, like I would say, good luck to any other random ball player.
yeah, right. What was that saying about not
I,
letting the
I don't hate the guy. I don't hate him. I don't wish ill on him, but that also doesn't mean I'm wishing success for him to come his way either. So again, it just kind of is what it is. No ill will, but no wishing of success either.
yeah, no, I agree. And again, moving into the All-Star break, Garrett Crochet is not going to pitch. I think that's huge. That says a lot about, you
Great
know,
decision.
what this team really is looking at. They're kind of looking at the big picture. So I'm just, yeah, I like you said, it was really ill-will timing as far as the All-Star break comes because they've just been killing it. Um, I think they're 12th or 11th in the standings as far as teams go, record wise. And if you would have told me that we would have been tied with the Yankees for wins going into the All-Star break. Mm,
I didn't expect them to
I
fall off
would,
as
I
hard
wouldn't,
as fall off
I
as
wouldn't have
hard as they
believed
did.
you.
Well,
I
and
wouldn't have believed you.
it's not even the Red Sox doing what the Red Sox have done. I think it's also the Yankees have kind of like they really have not looked good.
They've, yeah, yeah. It's and that Garrett Cole injury really
Oh, it screwed
is
them.
really hurting them.
It's screwed them. Like there's no way
You
around
know,
it. And like here's the
th-
thing. Like
eh,
we all like to make fun of Kermit, but like he is a great pitcher.
I mean, he's given you 200 innings. That's,
That's
30 some odd starts.
you can't
That's
just find that off the street like
yeah,
that quality. Like pitchers don't grow on trees.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, Max Fried is doing an unbelievable job in stepping in. I did not think he was going to have nearly the year that he's having. So, I do got to give my hats off to him. But also at the same time, you know, we've beaten the Yankees. I don't know what our season record is against them. I think we're like 6-2 against them or something.
Speaking of the Yankees, and obviously they've had terrible injury with Garrett Cole. The Red Sox unfortunately had a pretty bad injury. Probably the only bad thing to kind of come out of this 10-game streak. So you want to talk a little bit about Hunter Dobbins and what's going on with him?
Yeah, so ACL tear, unfortunately, you know what that means. Unfortunately, going to be done for the year. Um, Again, we got a plethora of guys coming up in the farm team. So, next man up mentality. Also, remember, we do have an actual legitimate starter coming back. Hopefully, I believe mid-August-ish in Patrick Sandoval. I mean, again, he's no Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, Clayton Kershaw, or anything like that. But he's a guy that's going to be able to go out there to give you a chance to win the game, which is what you need. Um, and when you get to the postseason, it's anybody's game.
I know we talked about Duran, but would you be willing to move someone that potentially was less talented, and not like less talented, but a lesser piece to get more of like a rental arm to kind of come on through? Maybe not an Evaldi, maybe not a Joe Ryan, but maybe someone who's a little bit older, someone who's not valued as highly because of the age that they have, tread on their tires. Some of those names that you were just talking about earlier, which I think just based on what they were signed in the offseason for the money and what people are expecting of them is not always, going to be as high as some of these other guys that are getting paid a lot more money. So I just love to hear your thoughts on that too, just to see if you feel like that's a move that would excite you or not move the needle for you at all.
I don't. Who would you move?
Again, I have no idea. I mean, you can't
It's
move
it's tough.
Sedane.
It's tough being in
Can't move
Craig's chair.
Sedane. That dude's
Not
been on fire, you know?
Sedan. You really don't. I mean, the only logical person to move, like I said, is Duran, just because of the control, the quality of player that he is.
Well, and if you're going to
Um,
move him, you got to get a bona fide stud back in return.
and that would be and that's why I don't cringe at the thought of getting a Valdi for Duran, but you're getting an older player on the end of a contract with no control for going all in. Am I for it? Yes, he's been here. He's done it. He went, what was it, 8 innings against the Dodgers in game 5 of the World Series or whatever it was, or game 4 of the World Series. Um, so Joe Ryan, yes, I would do that because he's a young kid. He's got control and he's a legitimate number 2 starter. And you put him behind Garrett Crochet, and boy, you've got some flamethrowers.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I just think like again, I'm glad I'm not the person making the decision of what to
I
do
agree.
because
It's a hard one.
it's a very hard one, especially with where this team has been playing. So we'll find out, and I
Yeah,
think again, All-Star break's coming on up, so hopefully the momentum picks up right where they left off when they come back. But the proof will be in the pudding once they start getting back on the field. So hopefully everyone enjoys their break and doesn't do too many things to distract and throw them off their game.
agreed. Agreed.
Speaking of what else is going on, we got training camp coming up. I believe that's starting to open up next week for the Patriots. I think the 21st. So
I
that's
believe so.
getting going soon, which is fantastic. Excited to get some pigskin back in the fold, and hopefully an exciting season for the Patriots coming on up.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
Lord
there's
knows
not been a lot.
we haven't seen one in a while.
Yeah, I mean there hasn't been a lot as far as news goes. I mean, we're all obviously we all everyone that's listening, everyone, even you and I, everyone in the world, I think that has a phone doom scrolls. So for us Boston sports fans, our algorithms are put in a certain way where if you're a fan of Boston sports, you've seen the videos of all the guys on the off season doing their workouts. And I saw a video today of Stefan Diggs with a crazy catch. And I think it was like a one-handed catch, and he had like maybe an inch or two to get his foot in, and he just dropped the toe down. And I was like, oh boy, do we have something here? Because here's the thing. We talked about it a couple shows ago. Josh McDaniels' playbook is hard to understand, but it works. We've seen it. Um, so in a perfect world, I mean, he Drake May is a great athlete, and he is surrounded with other great athletes. So if they buy into the system in a perfect world, I mean, they really should be making some noise. I'm excited for this team.
Yeah, I'm excited for them too, and I still think that maybe there's another move to come in training camp or with cuts. Not
Oh,
necessarily like a
100%.
big move from like the Patriots as far as like a big cut coming. Like I don't really foresee a big one coming. I still don't think Polk is getting cut. I still think that they're going to give him another year. But I think if there's someone that's got a trade contract a contract dispute and could be available via trade, maybe a Terry McLaurin, who I think you pair Terry McLaurin with Stephon Diggs and and Kyle Williams on this roster. That could be real interesting going forward. So time will tell, but excited that we're starting to get in the talk of football, which it's been
So
far too long.
and just one more quick thing. What are we going to do about our running backs? Because I have mock drafts that our newly drafted running back is touted over Ramondre.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. I think he's an electric player, and just like I think it's going to go back to like what it was like when McDaniels was here before. Like he's not a one running back type system. He uses multiple guys. So I think both are going to get a lot of run. I think just that obviously
What
Henderson
day? What game?
is a receiving back, which Mondre is too, but Mondre's also had all those fumble problems. So.
Fumbles. Yeah.
I think that's definitely something that's working against him. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit more fantasy as we kind of dive into training camp and see where things are going. But
Ain't
from
keeping
from
in this year.
yeah, and from the Bruins side, no news on the Bruins side, after the draft and everything else that was happening. So they're we're just waiting for them to make some not moves, but to get closer to training camp for them in September. So nothing really going on with them. And then our last team on the docket is the Boston Celtics, where Summer League is going on right now, and they've played two games of which they've won twice. And Hugo Gonzalez looked really good in the first game. I candidly have not watched a lot of the Summer League, but they've been beating up on a lot of teams. And you had an interesting nugget that I didn't know about, but our friend Cooper Flagg, from Maine, who was drafted number 1 overall by the Dallas Mavericks, has conspicuously been watching the Celtics Summer League game. So, maybe a zebra can't change
So
his stripes.
it was it was one game. It was after he was shut down by the Mavs. So it's not like he went back northeast to train with his trainers, or he went back to college and trained with his college trainers, or back to Dallas and started training in that facility. He just showed up to watch a Boston Celtics summer league game. So I don't know if I mean the homer in me is saying he's being a fanboy and watching his favorite team play. And right now I'm just crossing my fingers and waiting for time to go by. So when his rookie contract's up, he can say, "Peace out. I'll take whatever the Celtics give me. You want to give me a bag of balls? I'll take a bag of balls."
Yeah, I still also think too, like from the actual like composition of where the Celtics are going in this upcoming year, I still think there's more moves to be made. So we'll obviously talk about those as those transpire, as we start hearing some rumors. Here's the thing about the rumors, though. Brad Stevens, anything that you hear that's a rumor, almost never ever comes true with Brad Stevens.
Right.
So I think if there's a move to be made, it's not something that we're really hearing about. The one thing that we are hearing about, and I do think that this is actually somewhat notable, is Damian Lillard has been linked to the Celtics. He has a great
Twice, two
relationship with
weeks
Jason
now.
for with Jason Tatum. He has the opportunity to pick and choose where he wants to go, and it would be for a 2 year mid-level exception with the Celtics. And yeah, it's not really about next year. Even if he doesn't stay with the team and rehabs in Portland, him and Tatum are going through the same thing, and I think it's not a bad thing to have two guys who are highly motivated to go through the same thing together. And if they both are healthy coming into 2026, 2027, cool baby. Like this team could be really, really good. So, from my lips to existence, let's make it happen. Come on, Brad.
I, I agree. And again, I heard the rumblings last week about it, and it was just rumors. And then the rumors started picking up more that Tatum was actively recruiting him. So if something were to happen, it's going to be happening sooner rather than later. So I'm excited about that as well. Like I said, but like I said from the get-go, this is a team that's going to be a 4 seed, 3 seed. They we don't know. The East is, I mean, yeah, the East isn't that tough. So they could potentially find themselves in a pretty decent seed.
Good.
And
They
yeah,
could also find themselves in the play-in too. So I think we're all kind of going along for the ride next year. To me, it's not about where they finish in seeding for the playoffs. It's about how can we do with developing the young guys that are on this team to play with, you know, Brown, White, and Pritchard. If we can get some of these guys to really step up and develop, especially some of these. I wouldn't
become
necessarily say they're
actual NBA
rookies.
players.
Yeah, I think it just helps the window with Tatum and Brown because eventually these players are going to want to get paid, and you only have so much financial wiggle room with the players that we have on the roster. So again, that to me is what this year is all about, and it's all about reloading for the next year. So
I agree.
championship aspirations are closed for the short term, but long term, we're still looking at banner 19, banner 20. So
And even the other guys that they picked up, they do fit the system. Um, I do got to
yeah,
give a shout out for my guy Georges Niang.
that's your
Shout
dude.
out to shout out to Yannick and Marissa Nicole and the Natiches if you guys are listening. But yeah, eh, that's kind of cool to see. He's a three-ball shooter. And like you said, we'll see what this team is once the season comes.
Yep, it's going to be opportunity for everyone, including Jaylen Brown. He's going to get the opportunity to be the 1A and be the man. And
Did you
Derek
see him
White,
talking to Kyrie?
not particularly. I saw that they had some conversation. I didn't see it. So.
He essentially said to Kyrie, the league's gonna see the real Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, I agree. I think like it's going to be him. I think even for Derek White, doesn't always play second fiddle. He sometimes does what is needed. I also think Peyton Pritchard is really going to get that opportunity to show that he's not
I
only just a
agree.
six man of the year guy, but he is a starting
Starter.
caliber guard. So
I
we'll see
agree.
how it all shakes out. So I'm excited about the Celtics season. As disappointing as I was over the last couple weeks, I'm starting to feel a little bit more optimistic about them just because again, I do see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's just
Mhm.
it's painful to have to tear down a team because of a stupid CBA that the players should have never agreed to. And I think honestly the owners are having some buyer's remorse as well.
I
But
agree.
I know we're getting close to the end here, so just gonna go through our last section here about our my favorite time of the week, the things that we get to talk about, the things that stink, the things that I hate, the things that make me go, yeah, oh, smelly, bad. And then there are the things that I love, the things that make me get up from my chair, get me excited up in the morning, let me go, oh yeah! So I only got one oh yeah this week, and I want to give an oh yeah to Drake May. I think the quarterback for the Patriots is just such a genuinely good guy. Unbeknownst to anyone, including I think friends and family, he and his wife, because he recently got married, so mazel tov to you, to you, Drake, and the Mrs. Drake, um, donated all of their wedding presents to people in need. So I think it just says a lot about who Drake is, and like, this is not something he was trying to get publicized, and it just kind of ended up leaking on out, but. he just seems like a great guy, and again, I hope that he continues to show what we saw glimpses of last year in larger doses this year, and he's our guy that can take us back to the championship.
Oh yeah, to him. I mean, anytime a celebrity, be it an athlete, a musician, or an actor, does something, without the paparazzi following them is just always kind of feel good. It just kind of touches your heart.
Yeah.
Just like when old dirty bastard lifted that car up off that young little baby and saved that child. Look it up. It's a
Oh,
true story. Look it
ODB,
up.
what a
Look it
guy.
up.
We miss you. We miss you every
It's
day.
it's it's a true story. So with
I
that being
I
said,
I got no
go ahead.
other oh yeahs or yows. Do you have any other?
No, I mean, happy 4th of July. I hope yours was good. I know I was here in fabulous Bristol, Rhode Island. We have the longest running parade. If I'm wrong, I think it's 200 and I'm just looking because the parade route's right there. Um, we live like literally I can watch the parade as it happens. So that was kind of cool. I haven't been down in Bristol as a kid since I was 6. So it was cool to be up here and celebrate one of the oldest uh, parades that celebrates our country's independence. Especially considering that, they actually fought on those roads in the Revolutionary War and stuff. So pretty
One
fucking
one
cool.
one of the cool things about being in the Northeast and being in a place that actually has history in this country, unlike, and I'm not saying that some places don't, but some places are not fortunate to have the rich history like we have here. Um,
Agreed.
Very cool. And then last thing is just want to kind of talk about what we got coming down the pike, and really it's kind of just the All-Star game here
Yeah,
for baseball, and the Sox are going to
that's
pick it
about
up
it.
right afterwards and hopefully go on a tear, but cautiously optimistic. Not going to say that they're going to do anything until they actually do it. PTSD is real, folks. Sports PTSD.
Agreed. 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 It was a good episode talking about the Sox. In the words of our own Josh Plotkin, near, far, wherever you are, have a good night.
We'll see you all next week.